Mr. Mike Cooper Wings.
Hey, John, it was June, correct?
June, yes.
June, yeah. Commissioners, I had to give you this by paper because it was sent for the last meeting, but Mr. Cooper switched to this meeting, so I did not forward the electronic version. So you have in front of you John's report.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, John.
Good to be here this morning. I'm going to be real brief this morning. If you will turn to the balance sheet, this is June. This is 9 months into our fiscal year. Looking at both the cash and the liabilities combined, those two figures would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $385,000 better, either more cash or less liabilities or some combination of that because of our situation we've had to go through with the 2011, 12, and 13 cost reports. We've done everything that Medicare has asked us to do to file for and receive that money back. We're looking for it any month. Again, to be conservative, we estimate we'll have that by the end of this fiscal year, which is September 30th. Couple of things that are on the way up. Days cash on hand is now 9 days, and we've been down as low as 3.5 in the recent past. Accounts receivable days are 49, and that's come down from 98 in about 3 months, and low is good, so that measures how fast, how efficient the payables are collected. If you want to turn to the income statement for a moment too, I'm glad that Michael got you a copy of this because I did want you to see this one of all of them. We had a $371,000 profit in the month of June, which brings us year-to-date to $37,000 in the black. And the reason for that is when we filed the 2014 cost report, it was determined that we'd been underpaid in 2014 by Medicare. Consequently, in 2015, as they continued to pay us on 2014 rates, they were underpaying us for 2015 also. So in that $371,000 profit, there's about $290,000 that relates to Medicare making us right in what they're paying us based on our costs. Otherwise, from everything else, the hospital made about $80,000 during the month. While we're on the income statement, real briefly, since I'm talking about a cost report settlement in 6 figures, almost $300,000, just want to clear something up here. You look at hospital, clinic, and ambulance separately here, and so we report that like it shows. But our goal, our purpose, our intent is to keep all the expenses that we possibly can in the hospital because that helps us on our cost report settlements. In other words, if you look at ambulance or you look at the clinics, we do not put different people's times and efforts into those categories because they can legitimately be reported under the hospital financials, which again, at the end of the year helps us on our cost report. So the numbers you're seeing there on clinic and ambulance are just direct costs that we have in each of those areas. I know we're meeting later today. I'm going to stop here. I know that's a good large number to tell you about, and I know we haven't done that in the past. The nature of critical access hospitals is such that once a year closes out, if your volumes have gone down and your expenses have remained constant or gotten better, you should get a settlement from Medicare as they make us bring us up to par what we should have been each year. Going forward, we're going to look at doing interim cost reports throughout the year, 3 or 4 of those, so that I can estimate this going along, and it's not a big surprise at one time. But I didn't want to estimate it without that cost report being done because I did not want to overestimate it and be over liberal. Also realizing that if we start showing the large profits every month from estimating accounting entries, your natural question would be, well, where's the cash? So that's why we've shown it this time during the month of June. Again, it does bring us up to in the black, basically a break-even situation for the year 9 months into our fiscal year. Questions or comments or anything else you'd like to ask?
Anybody got anything?
Yeah, on accounts receivable and days, you're down to 49.1. Do you see that as a reflection of the new billing company that we put on?
Yes, sir.
'Cause I noticed it's come down, well, that's the lowest number on here as far
Well,
as
it's,
accounts receivable.
I'll go ahead and
the
stick my
number of
neck out.
days.
It's gonna be 46 next month.
Okay, so we are seeing some benefits of
Right.
moving to the
Yeah.
new billing company and.
Right. And the amount of cash that Medicare is holding for us now amounts to 19 to 20 days. So when I say we've got 9 days cash on hand, they've got 20 of it there. So we're almost up to 30 when we get made whole with our previous year's recoupments by Medicare. We'll be in the neighborhood of 30 days cash on hand.
That's the only question I have.
Okay.
I'm glad to see that number coming down, and we're seeing some benefit of some of these changes that we've made here recently.
Any more questions for John?
I think that's a good job. We'll be broke even for the year.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, John.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I just have a few things as well. Again, we're going to have a very detailed report for you this afternoon, so.
Do you
just
have that report ready now?
It is ready. It was finished up yesterday afternoon.
Do we have it?
Heather was making copies, and they're not here yet. You'll
Okay.
have them,
I'd like to have that material, please, before the end of this meeting so that we can have an opportunity to look at it
okay,
prior to the meeting. It's kind of hard to look at a report and talk about a report right when the meeting happens. So if we could please have that prior to the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you.
okay. One action item, there is a resolution that needs to be passed regarding an EMS grant. It's not the one for the ambulance, it's the small state EMS grant. It's for $1,400 we use for minor equipment and stuff like that. Michael has it, but that will need to be signed off on.
Mr. Sheila, have you looked at it?
Yes, Commissioner, I mean.
That's the baby grant, right?
That's
Yeah.
the baby
Called the
grant,
baby grant.
$1,418. I would recommend that the board approve it. It
So moved.
seems to be vanilla.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Also, on EMS, I don't know, I sent you all an email last night. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or not. Previously, I had reported to you that one of the ambulances died, basically irreparable. And so we had gotten a leased vehicle that was delivered last Thursday. When the guy dropped off the leased vehicle, he said, you can purchase this thing for $4,500. It was going to cost us $3,000 to lease it for 3 months. So we went ahead and bought it for $4,500. It is a 2000 model, but it only has 125,000 miles on it, which is lower than any other vehicle that we have. So the bottom line of that is with the grant vehicle plus this one that used vehicle we just purchased, it's not necessary at this time to purchase a second new ambulance. We should be able to get through this coming fiscal year with those two, but we would need a replacement vehicle next year.
How many is that gonna give you on the road with the one you got now?
We will have 6 functioning vehicles once we get the grant vehicle, because we'll take another one out of service. So that will leave us with 6, 1 new one and 2 that are functioning pretty well. And then we have 3 that are workable. So it puts us in a better position than we were last year. And with the new vehicle next year would put us in a really good position.
Well, I'm just a little bit confused because about 6 weeks ago, you turned in evaluation report of our ambulance service, which was, the best way I know how to describe it is to say that it was pitiful. And so now you tell us today that you are spending $4,500 on a 15-year-old ambulance, and that has somehow put a Band-Aid on our awful inventory and equipment situation. So for me, that doesn't really pan out that well in terms of how I relate it to the citizens and the service being rendered to the folks in Franklin County, is that we went from terrible, awful, we need another new ambulance, till we spend less than $5,000 on something, and now we're okay. So it's kind of you're sending this board mixed signals on the condition of our ambulance service. And when I'm getting feedback from the public that we are not responding to calls in a timely manner, and that there's concerns about that, folks in Alligator Point, folks on the far west end of the county, folks on St. George Island when we have all those people there for the summer season, it kind of makes me wonder how $4,500 can all of a sudden make all of our equipment problems go away for a whole year.
Commissioner, by no means do I mean to have you have the impression that $4,500 fixes our inventory problems. It doesn't. My understanding was that this commission was having some budget constraints, that it was going to be difficult to find $150,000 to put another new vehicle.
Oh, it's not difficult, because there's over $2 million in the trust fund right now. We're not going, I mean, from my standpoint, I'm not going to be a party to recommending that ad valorem pays for a new ambulance. The citizens of Franklin County already pay a tax for ambulance service to be provided adequately in the county through the trust fund at the hospital. And there's plenty of money there. And on the referendum, ambulance service is number 2. Number 1 was to build a facility in Carabel. Number 2 was to address the ambulance service throughout the county. And number 3 was to construct a new hospital.
I understand all that. And that is entirely up to you all. But even if you get a new vehicle this year, that would be great for us. But that doesn't diminish from the fact for $4,500, we have a better vehicle than probably 3 of them that we had in there. And my point to you, it was that this improves what we had, not that it makes it whole or great or better, but it does improve it slightly, and to the point where, if need be, I think we can get through this next year. If you want another new ambulance this year, that'd be great for us.
Is this an ALS or a BLS?
ALS. As a part of our grant to get the new vehicle, which would be an ALS truck, was to upgrade the service to an all ALS service. We won't have a BLS truck in a couple months.
Let me just add what, and I agree with Commissioner Jackal, just to let everybody know, which is not unusual. But anyway, I've got concerns with, and I'm glad you could find one for $4,500. But my thing is, you know, the bulk of the population may live along the coastline in this county, but we still have a population in the rural areas. The other day when we had that tragic accident, August 4th, it took EMS 30 minutes to respond, less than 5 miles where they were. I don't know where they were when the call come in. I don't want to know. I haven't talked to any of the family about this, but they said it took 30 minutes for EMS to respond to the accident out there at summer camp. And this should not happen. Now, if it takes a new ambulance to put online to meet that need at a better ETA time than 30 minutes, going 5 miles, then we need to do it. And as you said, when you presented that, you know, the concept of getting a new ambulance, you said it was not your decision, it was the board's decision, and it is the board's decision. And I think we are mandated by the state of Florida to provide emergency medical services. And like I've said before, we are mandated to provide emergency medical, services for the people. We are not mandated to do a hospital or any of the other stuff that we've got, but we are mandated to do emergency services. And I'm glad you got that, but I don't like a Band-Aid or a fix-up. I like to take care of the problem. And, once you take care of the problem, you don't have to worry about it in the future. So, I'm all for buying another ambulance, a new ambulance.
What was in the
myself.
process, we was in the process of doing it, I mean, we might as well stay on board.
Didn't you say, what did you say the cost would be?
I think it's about 150. I presented that to you prior, but I think it's about 150,000 for the ambulance. The equipment would come out of the ambulance that we take offline.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the equipment's,
And you
we
said-
have great equipment on the vehicles.
Okay.
And we have good communication equipment on the vehicles.
Another question too, Mr. Cooper, would you be able to have the staff to be able to staff another ambulance? That's a big question there too.
When you say another ambulance, you mean taking it to 4 ambulances on the road?
Well, whatever it takes. to
'Cause right now
meet
we
the
have-
people.
We have 2 full-time ambulances that are on 24/7, and then we have a third ambulance, which is now the BLS truck, that is on Friday through Monday for 12 hours a day. We have enough, or we will have enough ALS staff to move that BLS 4-day truck to an ALS truck. Now, I don't know, when you say another truck, are you mean take that truck to full-time or add a 4th truck? I don't know what that means.
What I would like for y'all to do is look at the ETAs, the estimated time of arrival to these accidents, to these areas. You've had the one over off of Mill Road and all that, and let's get them better. Let's get them better. And whatever it takes to get them better, let's do it. The other thing is, and I think I'll wait until the workshop to talk about this other thing, because it's connected with the ambulance too.
Are you gonna make a motion on the ambulance?
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we approve, the cost of, he said around 150 to 160, approve that estimated cost of no more than 160,000 to a new ambulance coming out of the Healthcare Trust Fund.
And that's for an ALS?
ALS
unit.
unit.
I second that motion.
Have a motion second on the floor, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I oppose.
I oppose.
Motion carries.
Okay, we can talk about this in greater detail at the workshop, but we do track our run times on EMS. On average, they're not historically bad. I can tell you what happens with run times when they are bad. It's generally because we have a truck out of the county. And what happens when a truck goes out of the county is the other 2 trucks move. They disperse themselves, which takes them further from our main population areas, but we try to even out where they're responding from. It's not uncommon that we have 2 trucks out of the county, so that leaves us with, at most, 1 truck covering the entire county. And this is a huge county. It's 70 miles long and I don't know how many miles deep. If you got 1 truck on county roads, it's going to take some time. And,
That's
we do
tough.
try to move things around to make those times smaller, but I can't fix all of that.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. This hopefully will help alleviate some of the problems, so.
Well, if you look at your financials, you've got $139,000 surplus in the ambulance fund. That's what you're showing today. And on operation through year-to-date, we're almost at the end of the budget cycle. So, and I don't know if all of the budget, the ambulance funding money, how that's being cycled through the hospital, but you've got enough money from what the county supplements the ambulance fund with through ad valorem, that if you need to look at putting on additional staff to service the ends of the county. I mean, I realize we have a terrible geographic problem in serving the citizens, but we still have to do a better job, or as good a job as we possibly can. And we're showing $139,000 surplus in that area. We need to spend it on ambulance service.
I can address that in greater detail in the workshop if
That's
you'll
fine.
allow me.
Okay.
Just a few more things. I did want to mention to you that yesterday afternoon, ACA showed up at the hospital for their annual inspection. It is both the state inspection and our CMS inspection. CMS is Medicare. So they'll be here for 3 days. So we've got that going on. And the last thing I would mention to you is last Monday, we began our staff training for the new computer system, the one that the board approved earlier this year. It is to go live next Monday. So we just started our second week of training. We will go live Monday. We also finished up our 3 months of attestation to the federal government. So once we go live, we'll be eligible. We will meet all of those meaningful use deadlines that we discussed earlier in the year, and it will make us eligible for incentive monies under that plan. And we expect that that could approach $500,000 in incentive monies before the end of the year as well. So I would publicly like to thank the staff at the hospital. This has been a huge turnaround in a short amount of time. Normally, you'd take this process over a year or two, and we've done it in 6 months. So publicly to the staff of the hospital, they have undertaken a lot of grief and stress over the last 6 months, and I think we're almost at the end of that.
Good.
And now, unless there's any questions,
Anybody have any questions for Mike? Any questions? Thank you, Mike.
Do you want me to discuss the meeting with Dr. Sherman this afternoon at the workshop, or
Good.
it's up to you?
It doesn't matter what,
Either which way I can get back, just let me know. Do it this afternoon.
yeah, let's just do it this afternoon at the workshop, and then, because we're gonna, I mean, this is an ongoing thing.
The public hearing, Marco, from Hum Ho RV Park.
Here, I sent to you in your packet, a review from Amy's office about the whole RV park, of changing it to C3.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Did this go through P and Z already?
Yes.
And come
Yes,
out?
it did.
I couldn't remember it when I saw it.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
Maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
oh, okay.
And as Amy said in the overview, they tried their best to see if they could, it was a Scrivener's error that they could figure out, but they just couldn't find the documentation to back that up.
So this hearing is not to expand the RV park, it's to make all the current boundaries.
The same, yes. And there's a map that Amy did for you guys. That's
Did
also
you
in the
have,
packet.
did you have any, feedback from
Any
either?
objections?
Yeah,
I wasn't at a P and Z meeting. Let me run in and ask Amy.
Okay.
Verify that they were not, I think they were already notified of it.
okay.
Certified letter was sent out on all the joint property. They might be annoying.
So it's just, oh, well, I'll wait until Michael gets.
No commissioners, no. Amy said no
No.
objections at all.
Okay, so we're not just talking about the parcel that we did about a year or two back. We're talking about mainly about half of the existing RV park?
Just the two parcels on the
Yes,
side.
yes, that's correct. The parcel we
Okay.
did a year back was actually an expansion on the west side. Then at some point, I don't know when this happened, Mike said, let's look at the east side, and that's when we realized the east side,
It was the east side.
didn't have proper zoning, so we're just now going to correct the east side.
Yes. So it's supposed to be the
Well,
same.
it's always been an RV park ever since Litton owned it out there, so, and that's been a way back.
All right, I have a motion.
No, we gotta do public comment.
Okay. Any public comments? Any public comments? Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve this to be done, and that would be going, from, C3 to C4? Is that the way it
I
goes?
think it's going to C, going to
I was trying to read it
C3,
here.
it's going to C3, Commissioner.
Okay,
Second.
that's my motion.
I have a motion on the floor. I have a second.
I did Pete.
Oh, you seconded it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.